Coming up Wednesday on Good Morning Wilmington Live, the Delaware Breast Cancer Coalition's Lissette Rivera and Mackenzie Blithe stops by to talk about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Plus, former vocalist for The Roots, Dyson stops by to talk about his past and what's next for the future. And CEO of Piqued PR, Patricia Maristch stops by the Plaza to talk about her business and podcast, the Preppy Podcast. Tune in at 10 a.m. right here on DETV.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, Wilmington. What's going on? I'm your main man, Big Ive, the talk of the town, Mr. DETV, Mr. Positivity, and I'm here with my amazing, lovely co-host,
Vincenza, and good morning, Wilmington, and good morning, Ivan.
Oh my God, it's been a long time.
Where have you been all my life?
Right. It's been 2 weeks and it feels like forever, right?
I know. Ivan walks on set today. I'm like, Ivan, I've missed you. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. And he goes, yeah, what, it's been like a month? And I'm like, no, it feels like a month, but it's only been 2 weeks. So
Right.
You've been super, super busy, which is amazing. I mean, I know that you've been traveling a lot, but you've also been very active in the communities.
Yes.
So you're nonstop as usual.
As usual.
But it's good to be back.
But you know what it is, Vincenza? It is the show, right? Ever since we took over Good Morning Wilmington, a lot of people they recognize both of us. They want us at the events. They want us hosting events. They just want us there, and that's what it was. Like last night, I had a great opportunity to moderate a conversation for Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce between myself and Jamar Raming and Carl Shaw of the Wilmington Public Library. And we talked about everything and like all the great stuff that they're doing, the celebrities that they're bringing in town.
Right.
And then right after that, I got to MC the Swim with the Sharks, Newcastle County Chamber Swim with the Sharks.
How was that event?
Pitch contest. It was amazing. It was
really
there. If you're a small business owner in Wilmington or in the state of Delaware, there is always something for you, right? The ecosystem here is amazing when it comes to small businesses and entrepreneurship and and just helping entrepreneurs become better, get financing, learn how to pitch and stuff like that. And then last week, I have to say this before I let you go, right?
Okay.
I had the amazing opportunity to have a conversation with the cast, powered by Wilmington Public Library, the cast of A Different World. So
how was that?
It was insane.
Wow. Wow.
It was
You've
literally
been all over. I can't believe you. Did you sleep at all?
What sleep? What is sleep? Sleep's for the broke. You know what I mean? But I know I did what I did, but you were doing something too.
I was a little busy too.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, which I feel like a majority of our viewers do know, I'm the executive state director for the Miss Delaware USA and Miss Delaware Teen USA organization. And both of my title holders, Miss Delaware USA 2022, Grace Lang, and Miss Delaware Teen USA 2022, Ava McMurray, attended the national competition in Reno, Nevada. They both competed for their respected titles, Miss USA and Miss Teen USA. And Miss USA is considered to be the Super Bowl of all pageants.
Wow.
So both of them did compete. They competed in all phases of competition. They represented Delaware so well. Very, very proud of them. And even though they did not come home with the national title, they came home with an experience of a lifetime. And I always say it's always about the journey versus the destination. And both of them represented Delaware so well. I'm beyond proud. And I said to both of them before they left, make sure you stay true to who you are every step of the way and no regrets.
It looked like they were having so much fun. And,
Yes.
and I want to piggyback on what you were saying. It's the journey.
Yes.
And I want to say, what was the Miss Delaware?
Miss Delaware USA Grace?
Yeah, Grace.
Grace Lang.
I want to say, she said, I was never doing pageants before. It was like my
No.
first time, and just
Right.
to have that experience on that main stage in Reno, Nevada, and just representing Delaware. I mean, she could take that. She could go down in history with that.
Right, and both of my title holders are actually athletes. One is a volleyball player, the other one is a diehard basketball player.
Villanova, wasn't
So
it?
yes, Villanova. So they both grew up as diehard athletes, and then when they tried something new and different. They stepped out of their comfort zone, even though they're no stranger to competition. They really, it just clicked for them. And they're like, wow, I like pageants. It feels like a sport.
Yeah. So give me the moral of the story here of stepping out your comfort zone and trying something new.
Well, I always say if you overthink something, sometimes you set yourself up for failure. Sometimes you just don't think, just do it.
Right.
And then see what happens. Sometimes we get caught up in our head when we overthink something. And it's, for example, competing in a pageant.
Right.
You know, if you are not sure, I always recommend for all the young women of Delaware that are interested in competing in the Miss Delaware USA and Miss Delaware Teen USA pageant is try it. Even if you have no idea what you're doing, try it, step out of your comfort zone and see what will happen.
Right.
And chances are, and I always say the chances are very high, you will learn something about yourself. You will develop confidence, and you will even make a friend. So it's all about that sisterhood as well, which is my favorite part. But,
I love it.
I truly enjoyed it. I was very, very excited to be able to attend the pageant, but I was more excited to come back home.
Oh my God.
I missed everybody.
Yeah,
I missed
so much going on.
I missed everybody, but I did not miss the weather. From what everybody was telling me, it was like
trash.
Really, really bad the whole weekend. I went from fall to winter in the span of 2 days.
What, 2 hours? 2 hours.
So it was funny. I got home and I was already dressed for winter. I was like, okay, let me take the gloves and the hat and the scarves out. So, well, I guess winter's here already.
Yeah. Well, grab your coats, your galoshes, and all that good stuff. And so let's dip over to local news.
Yes.
Local events that's going on. Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce is having an art loop, actually sponsored by Emerging Enterprises, and it's this Friday. Where is it at this Friday? Do we know where it is? It is, well, go to the website, check it out, nccc4cs.com, and check it out. Also, shout out to the Small Business Development Center that was at the event last night. They helped sponsor it. So if you need help with your small business, make sure you go to smallsbdc.com or .org, one of those two. Check them out. Especially shout out to Nicole over there. And what else we got?
Well,
we got some amazing guests, right?
Yes. We definitely have to start mentioning our guests right away because it will also tie in with upcoming events happening this month.
All right.
October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yes.
Which leads me to our first guest, Lissette Rivera and Mackenzie Blithe, representatives of the Delaware Breast Cancer Coalition. Very excited to chat with them and all the upcoming events celebrating breast cancer awareness. And our second round of guests.
This is my homie, right?
Yes. Okay.
And let me tell you, like, his music was the reason why I didn't give up, and I'm always going to tell that story. So Dice, you gotta take it. Interview number 2 is Carl Dice Raw Jenkins, hip hop artist, former vocalist for The Roots, is here on the Plaza, and I'm telling you, the dude is, as my man and I said yesterday, super creative, and it's just a pleasure to be around him. So
very excited to chat with him. And then last but not least, we have Patricia Maristch, the CEO and owner of Piqued PR and the host of the Preppy Podcast. Really, really excited to chat with Patricia. So we have another great show.
Podcast.
Yes, she's awesome, and she's been very, very active in her community and always been very, very, I would say, relevant.
Okay.
Sometimes people that are on social media, they kind of get, I don't want to say dull, but they just
dull.
Don't
Just
pivot.
say dull. Just say dull.
Okay, I was trying to be kind. They don't know how to adapt.
It's Wednesday.
But Patricia, I think, is the queen of adapting.
Okay.
So I'm very excited to chat with her, but we probably should take a quick commercial break because
we gotta pay the bills.
So we'll be right back.
Coming up on the Plaza, Delaware Breast Cancer Coalition's Lissette Rivera and Mackenzie Blithe.
DETV has been Delaware's premium provider of creative digital and broadcasting solutions that bridges communities and connects people. We create great stories for all audiences. We deliver independent news throughout Delaware. We are digital platform innovators. And we develop marketing and sales solutions so you can stay connected to your audience. Now, why do we do what we do here on DETV? We do it because we care. So, keep watching and follow us on all of our social media platforms. Remember, DETV, online, on air, on time.
Every issue that you care about.
Every issue that I care about.
And every issue that affects our daily lives is impacted by one simple action.
A vote. As the Delaware Voting Rights Coalition,
We stand ready to protect and expand access to voting.
Because our communities deserve a democracy that works for all of us.
learn more and join us at aclu-de.org/DVRC.
Government doesn't make a move without an agenda, some type of plan. The problem is we haven't been on the agenda. Sometimes we're overlooked. Sometimes our interests aren't the interests of those in power. I'm your host, Kerwin Gaines, on DETV's new show, The Agenda. We're going to do our best to ensure that you, Delawareans, are knowledgeable about what's going on in the Assembly. Federal government, local government, it doesn't matter. We're going to do our best to ensure that folks that make the agenda on a daily basis have to answer for it. Let them explain what they're doing. If it affects you, it's on the agenda.
All right, welcome back, everyone. First up on the plaza this morning are two women here to talk about breast cancer awareness and why it is so important to get checked on yearly. Please welcome to the plaza Lissette Rivera and Mackenzie Blithe from the Delaware Breast Cancer Coalition. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Very excited to have you here. And Ivan, I'm sure you have a little idea, but breast cancer awareness hits home for me. And my family. And I was very excited that you were coming on the show because I really want to make sure that we're getting the word out and we're continuing to have the conversation about getting screenings and educating yourself about this debilitating illness. So, but before we dive into that, I would love to give our viewers a little bit more about your background and your involvement with Delaware Breast Cancer Coalition. So Lissette, let's start with you first.
Okay, so Mr. Rivera, thank you for having us.
Of course.
I am a bilingual patient navigator, outreach specialist, and I've been with Delaware Breast Cancer Coalition 7 months, and I love working, with the community, with everyone. This is very important. I try to call women and tell them how important it is. How is it that you want to love your family, but you can't love yourself first? Okay, if you take care of yourself, that means that it'll trigger down to your family, and you will be with them for many years.
Very true.
So
thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Lissette. And Mackenzie, let's go to you. So tell our viewers a little bit about your background and your involvement with the Delaware Breast Cancer Coalition.
Awesome. So I'm Mackenzie Blithe. I've worked with the coalition for about 2 years now. I'm the public relations coordinator, and I get to amplify all of the great work our team is doing, like Lissette, our women's health screening team, and all of the awesome events we have going on. I just get to create graphics and just get to show everybody the importance of the work we're doing, get to spread our message to everybody on social media, on the internet, and it's really a pleasure to work with the coalition. And thank you guys for the opportunity to be here.
No, thank you.
Of course. And I am wearing pink because they do say, wear pink representing Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which again, like I shared earlier, that it does hit home. My mom is a warrior. We call them warriors, right? My mom is a survivor. She's a warrior, and I always wore pink for so many influential women in my life and have been a part of my life. But Mom, I wear pink for you and many others as well. But it's important to continue to have the conversation about breast cancer awareness and the advancements in technology, because there has been so much research over the years. Even as someone who it hits home. I've been paying way more attention than ever before, and you just see the advancement in research and the technology and the resources that are available. But I do know with the Delaware Breast Cancer Coalition, because they've played such a huge support, they were such a huge support system for my mother, my family, that the organization provides information resources and support, not only hosting events to fundraise for breast cancer awareness, but there's so many other resources. So going back just a little bit, could you tell us what is the Delaware Breast Cancer Coalition?
Absolutely. So we've been around for over 30 years helping our community. Since 1991 we were founded, and we became a nonprofit in 1997. And what we really seek to do is empower our communities through awareness, outreach, education, and support services. So we go, from the beginning of making people aware of screening, of the importance of getting screened yearly, and we do a lot of outreach in the community to get people aware of our calls. But when people are diagnosed with breast cancer, we have all of our support services through our survivorship programs, and we're able to actually do peer mentorship. So when someone's diagnosed, we hook them up with someone who's been fighting breast cancer for a while, a survivor, and they are able to foster that community, which is so important because they understand each other. They have that background of being able to just get what they're going through. So that's super important.
And it's not only physically debilitating, mentally. It just eats you alive. You start thinking, what do I have to do? How am I going to plan for the future when you don't know? And we've talked about this on the show because we've had the opportunity to interview so many other nonprofit organizations for their supporting their their specific type of cancer, and there's no one cancer fits all. There's everything, every cancer is very unique. And so let's talk more about these statistics. I'm sure you have a few that you can touch on, maybe locally versus nationally, some statistics for breast cancer awareness, if you can mention just a few.
Yeah, so we've been able to do 16,000 mammograms, facilitate those mammograms since our inception. And that's just really exciting because, and that's the ones that we know about, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't know how often they need to get their mammogram. They don't know that they should get it yearly. They think, oh, I'm fine, I don't have any pain, but it's super important. So we're able to get those people connected right here in Delaware. And that's, it's really exciting.
It's truly important to get yearly screenings. It really is. And I always say that, we're too busy. You should never be too busy for your health, right, ladies?
Yes,
right,
exactly.
Ivan? Even you, Ivan. You can never get too busy. I know we're very busy, but our health comes first. So, and I always commend my mother because she was getting her yearly screenings. She was able to catch the cancer early. And that's something that we're very grateful for. Yes.
That is key.
Now this is a question for all the men. Do men get breast cancer?
Absolutely.
That's a good question.
Yes, 1 in 833 men get breast cancer. So a lot of men don't think about it, but it does happen.
You also have breast tissue. Just
Right.
like us. It's just different.
Right. And that was a good question because we think just for women, but so it's important to, like you said, make that aware to others. Now, Lissette, why don't you share with us with your experience in the Latin community? Being able, bilingual. Can you share us a little bit about your experience and background with that?
Yes. So, I start with calling. We get lists from different locations or events. We do tabling, and we just reach out and we call the patient and we advise them that we're here to help you. So please, we'll give you an appointment. If you can't drive or you don't have transportation, we provide you transportation. If you need an interpret, we are here to interpret. We are here every step of the way. We share with them, how important it is, right? Because a lot of the Hispanic community are afraid. They are, and you want to just tell them, I am here. Let me hold your hand. Let's go. And we provide all different resources. And we also advise them that think of your family.
Yes.
That let's say you have 8 friends, 8 family members. 1 out of 8. Will be diagnosed.
Wow.
And when you look at that,
scary.
That is scary.
So we're talking about once every year women should have a mammogram.
Every year, at the age of 40, every year you should go and have a mammogram. Less than 40 if you're feeling something or, you know.
Or if you have family history.
Strong family history. Your doctor, your provider may say to you, you know, go get that baseline mammogram. It's important.
I just thought about something, and I read it somewhere, and it was suggested for women to do self-checks. And I'm sure that maybe on the website you provide those resources on how maybe someone under 40 but has a family history of cancer, like I do. I have a family history of cancer, so I was advised to do self-checks until the age of 40, then you begin your mammogram. So self-checks, I'm sure, are very encouraged.
That is very important, but always check with your doctor as well. Please do not just think that by you doing a self-exam is enough. No.
Gotcha.
And we have a lot of, you know, we help people, you know, if you don't have a primary doctor, we can help you. If you don't have insurance, it doesn't matter. We're going to help you.
Wow.
So there's no excuse.
There's no excuse.
There's no excuse.
It's just like there's no excuse not to be at Deer Park.
Right.
Right. You see that? You see that?
I was like, oh yeah, they're having the event there. Oh wait, that's
So Deer Park goes pink. What's that all about?
Yeah, so this is a race that benefits the Delaware Breast Cancer Coalition. It's on October 16th, and you can find this and all our events on our website, debreastcancer.org. So you can just go through our events list. If anything interests you, you know, just pop on there and see. The registration is still open for that, so you're welcome to come. We would love to have you.
Oh, awesome. You going?
So I really do want to attend. My dear friends, dear friends, the Ashby family, they started the event. I don't know, obviously about 11 years ago, because they're family friends, but also neighbors. Mrs. Sandy Ashby is a survivor of breast cancer. She's a warrior. I like to call them warriors. And in honor of her, but many others, they host this beautiful event. It's very, very popular. So many people attend, and you know, I've watched from afar because it always happens on a date that I cannot make it. But I'm always supporting from afar. So I'm really, really happy that it's continuing, and they are, you know, you guys are promoting it. But you not only do they have events in the month of October. I only know this because I've gotten very close to the ladies in the office at Delaware Breast Cancer Coalition. A shout out to Sue Murray and Francesca. They're wonderful, wonderful individuals. They've been very supportive to my family, myself, and you know, everything that we've been going through, but just so genuine to everyone that they meet. And not, you know, obviously, even though this is the first time I'm meeting the both of you, you've also been so warm and welcoming, and it's just a testament to the ladies in the office. They really do provide not only the education, the resources, and the tools, but the support. And it's a lot. It's life-changing. But they have events throughout the year. Shine the Light Awards, which is a beautiful event that's hosted, I think, during the summer months.
Yes, August.
Right, and so there's so many other events, not just the events happening in October. Now, for our viewers tuning in, are there any upcoming events you would like to mention that they can find out more information on, or attend, support, volunteer, or donate?
Yeah, so all our events on our website. I don't want to mention anyone specifically because they're all amazing. But debreastcancer.org, you'll find our events list, and whatever works for you, whatever you're interested in. You know?
Depending on where you live, October 29th, we're having our third multicultural community wellness fair, and that will be in Seaford High School. And it's from 10 to 3. Everyone's welcome. We just had one recently, September 24th. We had over 300 people there. So it's great. It's amazing when people come together and, you know, share the wealth, because this is important.
This is life important. So ladies, this is your camera right here. Go ahead and invite or tell people whatever you want them to know about the organization.
So please reach out, especially to me. I will give you my number, 302-357-7523. I am willing to help everyone, and I'm going to say it in Spanish, please. Si necesita ayuda, aquí estoy disponible todo el tiempo, no importa qué hora. Mi número es el 302-357-7523. Estoy para ustedes. Por favor, no ignoren. Tienen que amarse primero, y estamos aquí para ayudarle.
Yes, and we have resources available in English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole across the state. Anybody that needs them, we're here for you.
Oh, awesome. There we have it. Ladies, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. All right, Vincenza, another amazing opportunity.
I know. We're our capeless heroes.
They're
right?
our capeless heroes.
Our capeless heroes, and we're very fortunate that they come to us, and we're able to give them a platform to speak on what they're passionate about, what's important happening in our community, and to be able to make a difference. So we're very, very grateful for that. But we have to take a commercial break.
And next up on the plaza is Dice Raw. You don't want to miss this.
Up next on the plaza, Dice Raw.
As soon as I got here, I just felt the warm embrace of the community, man. Like what y'all got going on is wonderful. And no wonder y'all called the work group, because y'all putting that work in. For real, seriously, y'all getting the work done.
We are committed to creating the best Riverside we can with the community, for the community.
Let DART do the driving. DART First State provides transportation that is clean, safe, reliable, and affordable. Plan your trip and get real-time bus information with the free DART Transit app. Scan your phone to pay your fare with the free DART Pass app. So what are you waiting for? Try transit today. Visit dartfirststate.com or call 1-800-652-DART.
A new beginning, a second chance. Call it what you want, but this is what never giving up looks like. This is what finding someone who believes in you looks like. I thought Goodwill was just a store until a friend told me about Train to Gain through Goodwill's Job Resource Center. After 5 years away, I had a lot of self-doubt and fear about my future. But Goodwill had my back, and today, I love where I work. They matched me with an employer who believes in second chances. And now, I have a new start thanks to Goodwill.
To learn more about Goodwill's career development opportunities, call today.
And I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Vincenza. And Vincenza, I am super excited about this next guest. Look, from Philly, what part of Philly?
North Philly.
From North Philly to the boardroom, to giving back to the community, we have the one and only, the hip hop amazing artist, Dice Raw in the building. Dice, how are you doing?
Man, I'm fantastic. Ivan, thanks for having me. And Vincenza, it's a pleasure to be with you as well.
Of course.
And DETV, shout out Wilmington.
So we want to, first of all, let's let people know who the heck is Dice Raw, because I know who Dice is.
Right. I mean, Dice Raw, writer, producer, vocalist, singer, actor, theater producer.
Super creator.
Right, CEO of Freedom Theater. So I wear a lot of hats.
Yeah. And Vincenza, I have to say, look, so Dice and I, we were busting it up at Le Cave, and he's like, the great thing is, I knew of his music. I just never knew who he was.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, man, I'm a songwriter. I'm like, all right, so what you write? And he was like, I wrote, you ever heard of Fire? I'm like, wait a minute, but Roots? And he was like, yeah. I said, bro, and I damn near went in tears, right? Because I'm like, yo, that song saved my life.
Right.
It gave me the inspiration that I needed to get out of the bed and to get my life back together. Wow. And I would listen to it every day.
What are the odds?
Right.
That was a sign.
Yeah.
Well, one of our friends, Leroy Tice, introduced us, and I was like, oh, you work with the Roots? I was like, yeah. And he said, The Fire is my favorite song. I was like, well, I wrote that, And it's crazy because when we were first working on it, it was originally not even going to be a Roots song. It was going to be the theme for the Olympics. And it still wound up being the theme for the Olympics.
I feel like that's still kind of a big deal.
Yeah. So, I mean, for that year, whatever, it was, 2000, whatever that was, 10 or something like that. So we were working on something for the Olympics, and they just, killed it so hard. And then when John jumped on it, it just became its own life. You know what I mean? So,
that hook is amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That hook is crazy. But outside of that, Freedom Theater, man, you're the CEO of Freedom Theater. Let's talk about that.
I mean, Freedom Theater started in 1966. John Allen, Bob Leslie. I mean, black art, black theater at that time was at its infant stage. You know what I mean? Even theater, American theater and American musical was still kind of like finding its way a little bit. So black theater was something that was just like, oh, wow, okay, very avant-garde, and very left of center, and very eclectic. And for those guys to have the foresight that black art and black theater will grow to where it is now, it's just amazing. And I'm happy to be there. It's exciting, because I was actually a student at Freedom Theater. And Freedom Theater, y'all threw me out as a kid, and you told me I couldn't be in a performance, and you broke my heart, but you welcomed me back. So, I'm back at Freedom Theater, surprisingly,
As CEO.
Yeah, as CEO.
So you get the boot and you come. They Steve Jobs you
Kinda.
So what can we expect, moving forward? Because I know Freedom Theater has been dormant for a little bit. Right, but you're rebuilding. You and your team are rebuilding. What can we expect for the future?
Oh man, well, first, education. Is huge. And that's something that I think Freedom Theater definitely wants to focus on. And like our partnerships that we've been creating have been very centered in education and reaching back into the community to put more arts and giving kids of color, Latino, Black, and even poor white, giving them access to theater, things that they ordinarily wouldn't have access to. And then, internships. And then first things first, we got a big surprise too at Freedom. We're in the process of a huge revitalization project. And so I'm excited to announce that. But I'm not going to get too much into that yet, because we'll do that big.
We'll do that, we'll do that later. Right.
And then, more digital content. Freedom Theater is excited to partner with, a great partner that we're about to, sign a contract with and do something big with him. You know what I'm saying? He's a big fella, you know what I'm saying? So we're excited about that. Don't want to get too much into that either, but then, we have new shows too. So we have The Forgotten Founding Fathers, which is a new program that we just produced, and it's going to be going up at Venice Island Performing Arts Center, November 14th, 15th, and 16th. So that's like the first thing that the community will be able to engage with, and it's daytime performances, and we've already partnered with tons of schools in Philadelphia and, different programs that are bringing different schools there. So it's going to be very exciting. And like I said, we're giving kids access and exposure to arts and performing arts that they typically wouldn't get a chance to see. And with a story they typically never even heard of.
There you go. There you go.
So can I call you Dice?
Yeah.
Is that all right?
My name is Carl, but my friends call me Dice. That's what I always
That's the name of the album.
Yes.
Can I call you Dice?
Oh, please.
Can I call you Dice? Dice, I know that some of our viewers may not know where the Freedom Theater is located. Where is it located, and what state?
Okay, well, the Freedom Theater is located in the heart of North Philadelphia, 1346 North Broad Street, and 19123. If you want to send us a letter or even send us a donation, don't let me stop you.
Yes, you're accepting all the above,
Of course.
Now, what inspired you to, I'm going to go back
Go
a little
ahead,
bit.
go ahead.
I'm going back a little bit.
All right, let's take it
Dice,
back.
what inspired you to dive into music?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, my mom was a huge, record collector. Okay. So, in our house we had nothing but records, and she would be playing like, Butterball on Sundays, even Frank Sinatra in the house. And my mom had a very eclectic music taste. So whereas I would go outside and listen to hip hop with my friends and get exposed to that, inside my house, my mom was listening to like Kenny G was like her favorite artist at one point. She was like obsessed with Kenny G for some reason. And then my dad was a drummer. You know what I mean? So, my first instrument was the drum. And back in school, back in the 80s when I went to school, you could take home an instrument every day.
Yeah.
So I started taking home the violin, taking home the saxophone. I played the French horn was like the thing that I was kind of like in love with, and it was just because of how the French horn looked and the aesthetic of it. But then I was getting bullied on a train going to school because we was latchkey kids, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, kids today, y'all get treated a whole different. Your parents take you to school. They pick you. I hear my friends talking about kids and like, oh, I just dropped my son off at school. I'm picking him. I'm like, damn, really? I'm like, I had to catch SEPTA. You know what I mean? I'm on public transportation, so the kids would take the French horn because it had wheels and would just take it from me and be rolling it up and down the aisle. So I had to figure out a way to still make music that gave me a little bit of street credibility. And I was like, I can rap. And someone was like, no, you can't. And I was like, I just started just rapping off the top of my head. And then people liked it. Right. And I liked the attention from it. So that's really what got me into rapping.
Wow.
So.
Amazing artist, amazing.
Thank you.
So let's talk about, if you don't mind, some of your accomplishments, some of the things people know you of. The Jimmy Fallon.
Right, theme song.
Theme song for Jimmy Fallon.
Late night Fallon.
So awesome.
Yeah, you said the Olympics.
Right.
What else have?
I mean, work with so many. Just working with the Roots has just been like the gift that just keeps on giving. You know, because when you're an underground rapper in the '90s and not making a lot of money from it, you sign to this record label. It's a major company, and your dreams almost feel like they're getting away from you, or it's not all it's cracked up to be. And really, when I think back on those times, those were good times too.
Right.
That we thought we were struggling in, that actually built the platform for what we're doing now. You know what I'm saying? And I know y'all put former vocalists of the Roots, but no, I'm Roots for life. You know what I'm saying? Right. And we got new stuff coming to us, going to just knock people out of their socks. But I'm not even gonna get into that either.
That's another special.
Right. It looks like you're going to be coming back on the show to make all these big announcements.
Right. Well, they'll be dropped. They're not. They are big announcements. Yeah. And we're excited. And we're excited to announce them. You know what I mean? So
very exciting.
But I was never actually in the Roots either. So I was always just a writer, producer, and guest vocalist. You know what I mean? So I was
still a Roots. You still
Roots crew for life.
Roots crew
for life. You know what I mean? And but like you were saying, like some of the accomplishments, working with the NFL for years, working with the NBA for years, doing the NBA theme.
Yeah.
Champions. When the first time the Cavs met LeBron. Well, no, when LeBron was still on the Cavs, but when they met Golden State. Yeah,
right.
The song Champions. I mean, all those different things are great moments. The Woodstock, performing at Woodstock when they would set the place on fire. And I mean, they're not even just accomplishments, but just moments. That are just, I mean, sometimes the moment is even better than the accomplishment. You know what I mean? The journey, you were saying earlier. Sometimes, and that's something that I feel blessed enough to always be able to recognize. And I mean, just as far as accomplishments, being the CEO of Freedom Theater is major. To go from hip hop, profit, for-profit, 100% to, nonprofit. Oh, wait, how does this work? And then still being able to, maneuver in that world and come out with something successful at the end. It's always a blessing, you know what I mean? So many accomplishments, so many hard to even name, you know what I mean?
Right.
So.
But to be proud of.
Oh, super proud of.
And I will say this, because I know it's sometimes hard to speak about your own personal accomplishments, because the moment Dice walked in, very humble. I mean, very, very personable, right away first impression, meeting you. And you made me feel like I was the only one in the room right away, and it was like, now hearing all these accomplishments, you're a big deal.
Oh, well, thank you for that.
Very accomplished and very, successful, but very humble at the same time.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But I just always look at it like, it's not me that's even doing it. You know what I mean? So it's like, where do these song ideas come from? Where does all these blessings come from? It's coming from somebody above, and and I'm here to serve. Now I'm serving the community. So and that's what Freedom Theater is all about.
Yeah. How many instruments do you play?
Oh, I don't play anything now. I mean, of course, I'm a drummer at heart because my dad was a drummer. That's my first instrument. But I've played lots of instruments. How many have I gotten good at? Now, that's a different question.
Right. You're probably pretty good at a lot of them.
Right. You could do.
Yeah, you could
just kill a whole thing.
Right, you hand an instrument to you probably could figure it out compared to us. We probably wouldn't know what to do.
Well, the other thing is, the beauty of art is, you can create art, and as long as you like it, it has value. So that's it. You know what I mean?
As now going into being a CEO of a nonprofit, like you said, you was in the for-profit sector, and then in the nonprofit sector. What are you looking? And in the nonprofit, the job is to change the world. Right. That's the job.
Right.
What do you see for Freedom Theater and your not accomplishments, but you and your team to change the world? What are you how are you looking to change the world with theater?
I mean, that's a good question, and I think every artist really should ask themselves that, but that's an intelligent question for starters. And not every artist is even that aware, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times we can be too self-aware artists, and I can get caught up in that as well, you know what I mean? But again, with the power of God, you know, or whoever you know, pray to the universe, I don't want to even get into that, but, you know, being driven by a message that's bigger than myself is kind of what I see for Freedom Theater too. So, you know, for years, Freedom Theater was, the mission statement was, you know, high-level arts, and kind of like doing what Yale Repertoire was doing, what, you know, what Harvard was doing, like high level dance, high level acting, high level production. And I still want to take that, but what I want to do is change it a little bit. And I want to chronicle African American history through the performing arts, which I think makes it easier for kids and even adults for sometimes to learn about African American history, which is American history by itself, you know what I mean? Yeah. To shed a spotlight on that. And I feel like that will do a ripple effect, because like when I came in earlier, we were talking about Box, right? Yeah. The story of Henry Box Brown, the same brother, Leroy Tice, you know, shout out Tice, who introduced us. You know, he came to see the production a couple different times, and being somebody who is a lawyer, somebody who does hold a doctorate, you know, who has all these, you know, been on different boards, and then to hear a story about African American triumph at 40 years old, 50 years old, 60, and something that you never heard of, you're like, well, wait, why didn't I ever hear this? You know what I'm saying? And you just gotta, you know, when teachers are teaching African American history in school, black teachers, white teachers, I mean, whoever, Asian teachers, like there's certain things that may be uncomfortable for them to talk about, especially when it comes down to whips and chains and the typical narrative that we know in slavery. But there's so many bright moments inside that horrible history that need to be showcased as well, like the heroism in it, you know, which is Harriet Tubman. But there's more Harriet Tubmans, you know, the inventions that came out of slavery. When you think about, I mean, not just the cotton gin, but the doorknob, the hairbrush, you know, the broom. I mean, Garrett Morgan made the traffic light. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, all these different things that are part of African American history that aren't showcased during the curriculum. That's a widespread curriculum in America, and that's something that I want to do, and I want to help teachers nationwide, you know what I'm saying? Which is why we created a streaming service to at Freedom Theater, that you can actually stream our shows like Box, The Forgotten Founding Fathers, The King of Love. You can stream these shows into schools and classrooms all around the country, all around the world, really, if you're interested in African American history.
And these shows, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dice, these shows that they're creating, Black history is in an edutainment hip hop form.
Oh yeah, well not just hip hop, but like this show Henry Box Brown Boxed is also gospel. You know, there's folk music in it. Because Henry Box Brown was a singer as well. He was a magician, he was a singer, he was a hypnotist.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, see, and most people who were in his area in Lewis County that knew his slave master, who went under a title of being uncommonly kind. Like he owned slaves, but it was like, well, this guy, he's too nice to his slaves. Like, this is weird. They thought that Henry Box Brown had him hypnotized.
I have not.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Had him hypnotized.
Henry Box Brown, he mailed himself. He got into a box and mailed himself to freedom.
Yeah. He mailed himself from Virginia to Philadelphia.
To Philadelphia.
And he became the first African-American performance artist.
Get out of here.
I mean, he toured the world.
Didn't know that.
And he had a show called The Panorama, which he would go from Europe. I mean, this is a slave. He going from slavery inside a box to touring the world. He toured Europe, he toured Canada, but he was also being tracked down by a bounty hunter. And we think that they may have caught him in Canada, where he was last seen.
Oh, wow.
Performing at Panorama, so.
Okay.
But shout out Henry Box Brown. Maybe he's still out there.
Right.
Because he was magic.
He was magic.
He was a magical slave.
Where can people get more information about Freedom, the new Freedom Theater?
Right. freedomtheater.org. Just go there right now. You can log on. Hit the button. You can watch shows in the black box. You can learn about the staff, learn about the board, and learn about everything that we got going on in the future.
And it's a really nice website. I had the chance to scroll through it. briefly, and I was like, it was a great website, easy to navigate, and it
Right.
does explain the history, the mission, and the background. So if our viewers want to find out more information on the history,
Or donate.
or donate,
yeah.
that's important.
Yeah, just
Check
hit the
out the
button.
website, super important. But Dice, we ran out of time.
Oh,
I feel like we could talk to
no.
Dice all day.
Yeah. Okay.
Lots of stories, but lots of history and education. But thank you so much for joining us on Good Morning Wilmington, and good luck,
Thank you.
sir, and hopefully you continue to grow, and we
Right.
look forward to all the new and upcoming news that you'll be letting Ivan know, let Ivan know, and then maybe we can have you back on the show.
Right, maybe.
No, we will.
Oh,
Okay,
great.
good.
There you go. There you go. Wonderful.
All right, Dice, thank you so much, bro.
Thank you, guys.
it.
Appreciate it.
All right. Matter of fact, this is your camera. You can tell the community what you want about it. About the Freedom
Go
Theater.
to newfreedomtheater.com, and learn about us, So.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, Dice, thanks a lot. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back, and we're coming back with, who are we coming back with?
Patricia Maristch.
There we go. All right. Good morning, Wilmington.
Still to come, CEO of Piqued PR, Patricia Maristch.
How did DETV start and how did you get here?
DETV started approximately 10 years ago in the basement of my home. I had an idea to show people of color doing great things, but what happened was I got to the point that I said, I'm gonna just show people all together doing great things. The motto and the moral was to bring people together instead of using media to rip people apart. And doing that, I just did a lot of hard work, a lot of free stuff, a lot of things of just showing people being themselves. I figured that media, and I saw that media wasn't doing that, so I just decided to give it a shot, not knowing that it would bring me to where I am today. I had a great journey doing it, met some amazing people, did some amazing things, worked on some amazing projects, and with just a lot of hard work and a bunch of sacrifice, I'm here today. I done worked on everyone's campaign in the state of Delaware, and now, I'm just doing what I do and doing it with friends. My biggest accomplishment right now would have to be this, hands down, without a doubt. We want to make sure that we inform the community wholeheartedly. So again, they can have all the information that they need. For more information, you can find us at detvch.com. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook under DETV. Be sure to check us out. Tell me what you think.
A new beginning, a second chance. Call it what you want, but this is what never giving up looks like. This is what finding someone who believes in you looks like. I thought Goodwill was just a store until a friend told me about Train to Gain through Goodwill's Job Resource Center. After 5 years away, I had a lot of self-doubt and fear about my future. But Goodwill had my back, and today, I love where I work. They matched me with an employer who believes in second chances, and now I have a new start thanks to Goodwill.
To learn more about Goodwill's career development opportunities, call today.
All right, our last guest on the plaza is a woman who puts the P in preppy.
All right.
And always flashing a big smile. It is my honor and privilege to introduce the CEO of Piqued PR and the host of the Preppy Podcast.
Love it.
Welcome, Patricia Maristch.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. And actually now I'm Patricia Olson.
But you see what she did there, right?
She's like,
thank you. But actually, it's like
weird time. Thank you.
I know, Patricia just got married, and it was funny. I see her name, like first and last name. I've known Patricia for, how long now?
Like 10 years,
A long
I feel
time
like.
now.
Yes.
So we actually met when Patricia was the organizer for Mainline
Fashion
Week.
Okay.
And I modeled in the fashion shows that you had orchestrated, and that's how we connected. So I've known Patricia for quite some time, and
Right.
and even though after that experience, for the fashion show, we did not, cross paths again, we still stayed connected and
Right.
followed each other through social media.
Okay. Mhm.
And I had the privilege of watching her grow in her career, which I thought was super awesome, and be able to really advance in her career and then start the Preppy Podcast.
Right.
And we all know that, podcasts are the wave of the future. So it was really, really exciting to see you grow in your career and everything that you're doing. But let's start from the beginning, because I always like to, give our viewers more background on who you are before we really dive into things. So who is Patricia Maristch Olson?
Yes.
Olson.
So I am the CEO of Piqued PR, which is a public relations firm. I work with clients all across the country, getting them into traditional media, so Oprah Magazine, Southern Living, all of these great publications. I also do a lot of influencer events and some like Bravo and celeb placement with that. And then I host the Preppy Podcast too. And I also have a lifestyle blog.
Super busy.
Yes.
Super busy.
Super busy. So no, Patricia, you obviously love fashion.
Yes.
And I have to give credit where it's due. So the magenta, we call this magenta?
Yes,
Or is
definitely.
it a berry?
It's a mix between the two, somewhere in between.
So these pants, I did not plan this, but I always think things work out for, the way it's supposed to work out. Patricia actually, with her, I guess you would say, colleague, the owner of Posh Boutique, based out of Malvern, Pennsylvania, selected these pants for me to wear in one of their, I believe it was a lookbook.
Yes.
A lookbook for the fall. I fell in love with these pants. I was like, oh my gosh, I love them.
Yes.
So between the two, they selected these pants for me to wear. So how fitting that I selected them to wear today, and you were going to be on the show.
Yes, that's perfect.
So Patricia,
didn't know.
yes, but Patricia has such a good eye for these things,
Okay.
like her attention to detail. And I always like to, say you've always been like that.
Thank you.
Since day one. I mean, just look at her shoes. I mean,
If only the camera could see.
Oh, don't worry about it. It's coming.
Oh, it's coming, okay.
It's coming. The shoe
They
cam.
probably already did it.
Right, the shoe cam. We always talk about the shoe cam on set. We're like, we really need to have a shoe cam, like even before or after, like, let everybody know, because we get so many awesome people on the show that just really go all out.
Right.
Go all out with all different types of shoes. But going back to Piqued PR.
Yes.
Let's talk about that more and what's happening and what's next for it.
Definitely. So with Piqued PR right now, we are really busy pitching holiday for our clients. So typically that starts in July, actually, for those big publications like the Oprah's Favorite Things and Southern Living and Martha Stewart, all of that. But locally and digitally, we're still pitching holiday and getting influencer collabs set up and doing a lot of traveling, honestly. I am headed to Kentucky next week, Palm Beach the following week, all for clients for lookbook shoots and events. So it's been very busy, but really fun.
Excellent.
The Preppy Podcast, what is that exactly?
Yes, so the Preppy Podcast I started in, I want to say April of 2020, and I work with a lot of small businesses and brands and really love supporting them. And then when I saw them struggling with COVID and the pandemic, I wanted to figure out a way to help them.
Okay.
So I've always had a blog on and off since college, and part of that blog, I interview entrepreneurs about their story and their journey. And I thought about doing a podcast for so long, but didn't really know how to do it.
Right.
But that year, it really put some fire under me to get it going, to figure it out, because I wanted to share their stories. That way people could learn more about these brands and businesses and, invest in them and go and buy their products and shop their products. So on the podcast, it comes out every Tuesday, and I interview the brands, businesses, and influencers who are keeping the modern preppy lifestyle alive. So there's so many great, fashion brands, wine brands, all sorts of things.
Wow. I definitely have to check it out.
Yes.
And then I'm going to call you back in and be like, look, this is amazing.
Yes, and Patricia's so, going back to attention to detail, but so knowledgeable. The podcast is actually extremely informative.
Okay.
Something that I learned just by listening to Patricia in conversation is that talking about your following.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember this conversation, because it resonated with me and even the people listening, that tuned in, and you were talking about, for example, Instagram, your followers.
Yes.
You don't own your followers,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So could we touch on that some more?
I would love to. I'm very passionate about this. And I always tell my clients, Instagram is great. I think everyone should be on Instagram as a business owner. It's a great way to reach people. It's a great way to position yourself as a business owner, as an influencer too, because you are an influencer. You're influencing people's purchases. But the thing about it is you don't own those followers. Instagram, could go under tomorrow or close its doors, whatever it is. So the algorithms always changing too.
Right.
So instead, invest in your email newsletter, invest in your website, something like that that's yours, that you buy the domain, you buy that email service, because that's really, at the end of the day, what you own, unlike your followers then.
I'm so glad you said that because, you know, for years, you know, we have the younger generation that just thinks it's just Instagram, right?
Yes.
And that we heard over and over time that email is dead, right?
Yes.
It's not dead. It's
No.
alive and well,
Yep.
right? And just like the same thing, Facebook is shut down and everyone is gone. Like, and perfect example is MySpace.
Yeah.
Everybody had a
Yes,
MySpace
that's
page.
true. Yeah.
And then Facebook came along. So it's always off to the next social platform, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And your email, you know, that's a direct way to contact your consumers or your followers or your listeners, whatever it may be, with the algorithm. Some people might not see your stuff even though you're posting
There
it,
you
but
go.
email goes directly to their inbox. So
They're going to get it.
Yes.
Oh, God, I love talking to you.
Yes,
Okay.
and you even mentioned about having a blog.
Yes.
That really helps, I guess you would say, invites your following. So you start to collect those emails.
Yes,
And,
and it also is great for SEO. It's a
Okay,
great
yes.
way for people. It helps with that search engine optimization.
Right.
So that's another great thing, and it helps expand your brand and your brand's voice essentially.
There you go.
Doesn't it make sense? When she said that, I said, you're right. We don't own these followers.
Nope.
We're also focused on those numbers.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, we need to have this many followers, and this is how you, and I actually hate it that you're always judged on your followers. That you should never judge, like, don't judge a book by its cover.
Yes.
You should
Right.
never judge an influencer or someone or an individual by their followers.
Right.
And when you put that in perspective, you don't own those followers. Instagram can go under, Facebook could go under tomorrow. What do you have to show for it?
Yeah.
Not even no wonder you can get kicked out or locked out, and you're trapped.
Hacked, yeah.
You get
Hacked,
started
yes,
people have
which is
that.
scary
Oh
too.
my gosh, yes. Okay, all right. Before we start getting into the whole social media tips, because we can get there. Oh my gosh. So you said it airs every Tuesday.
Yes, the podcast every Tuesday.
What platforms?
So it's on Zencaster, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, basically wherever you listen to podcasts.
Okay, all right. I
Yeah,
love
so
it.
everyone can tune in and listen. But what's nice about podcasts, you don't have to tune in every Tuesday. You can go back later
Exactly.
and listen at any time. I do want to mention something else that I learned also about what you have been teaching, and you brought to my attention was, have you ever heard of, let me ask Ivan this. Have you ever heard of tablescapes?
No.
Okay, right? You like that? You've heard of landscaping, right?
I've heard of landscaping all day, yeah.
Tablescaping, right?
Yes.
Tablescapes.
Okay.
All right,
So,
explain.
That really became popular in 2020 because everyone was staying at home.
Right,
So,
right.
it's an elevated way to say table setting.
Right.
And it's a fancy table setting,
Right.
essentially.
Fancy word.
But it's something I love. I love creating a pretty tablescape with pattern and color and layering different textures and elements to it. I think having people over and setting a pretty table for them and serving them great food is a great way to show hospitality and welcome them into your home, especially as we're getting into the holiday season, right?
So Patricia is an expert on this.
Tablescape.
Right, people hire her to decorate tables.
Yeah,
And-
or parties in
Right.
general, yes.
Parties in general,
Yes.
obviously, yes. Parties in general, because you are very, very talented
Thank
and
you.
multifaceted, but you specialize in tablescapes, and I never knew about what that was. And I was like, what is that? I've never heard of this before. And I'm in the hospitality business.
Tablescaping.
Right,
Wow.
right. It's
a
an art.
thing.
It is an art, but you're right. Because of COVID, everybody was on social media. Everybody was stuck at home, and they started to do things differently. And this is where I guess you really thrived. And
Yes.
you're like, well, there's someone that knows exactly how to. It's almost like put the table together where it looks aesthetically beautiful.
Exactly, yes. And I love pulling in, some of your nicer pieces. So whether your grandmother's china that you have or this cool piece that you found at a vintage shop, and layering that with some new, funky, fun pieces, I think is really fun. Even, Will and I don't have any kids, but even if we're just having dinner, the two of us, and, we're cooking steaks and having a little date night at home, then I'll set a pretty table because I think that's so fun and it's special.
Nice.
Right, and creating fun
I'm gonna
memories
go.
too.
We should, and the next time you come on, right? We should do that. We should she should
Yes,
teach
that's a
us
good idea.
how
Yes.
to, tablescape.
Yes.
And I think that would be great. So Najee, put that together. I think we need to do that.
Put that on the to-do list.
Especially for like Thanksgiving,
And the
Christmas,
holidays.
the holidays
Oh,
coming
yes.
up. That would be
perfect.
that would be amazing. Maybe we just have a different segment. Okay. All right. So
Ivan's brain is going.
yeah, my mind is
See the light
moving,
bulb
and that's the bad thing when you have a room full of creatives, right? You're like, what? Okay. Right. We can monetize that, right? Yes. Thank you. They give us a sign. Thank you so much. Our cooking show is about to come up.
Yes.
But thank you so much. Where can people, this is your camera right here.
Yeah.
Just tell people about your company and where they can contact you.
Okay. Well, so you can find me at Preppy Publicist on Instagram, and that kind of will direct you to all my different platforms, thepreppypodcast.com and piquedpr.com as well.
Oh, you're amazing.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right, Vincenza, another beautiful show of amazing entrepreneurs and capable heroes.
Yes, and I was very excited to have you back. I felt like I haven't seen you in
my
forever.
girl.
I miss Ivan. I mean, even though Kaylin and Matt held it down for us, we're very, very lucky to have them. A shout out to the both of them for holding it down for the both of us, since we are very, very busy. But I missed you.
I missed you too, girl. And Mom and Pop, I miss you too. All right, I'll be at the restaurant soon. So I think that's it for the show.
Yes.
We'll be back live on Monday. More Good Morning Wilmington with more information, news throughout Delaware, and keeping you informed on what's happening, and maybe even outside Delaware. So we had Dice Roll in the house from Philadelphia today.
Yes.
So we might just air this episode in Philly. Who knows?
That's a good idea.
Very good idea.
Very good idea. Always coming up with ideas.
There we go.
But we have to do a real quick shout out to our sponsors. We have DART, Transit Balance, Strength and Fitness, and Wi-Fi Internet Service. Thank you so much for your support.
Yes.
And we'll see everybody on Monday at 10 a.m.
Over and out.